to find yourself and express yourself through a piece of land. I've found something that is deeply human. It's an innate instinct in us all, wanting to connect with nature. The biggest problem is permission to live this life. When I bought my land, there was no undercover kind of hiding things behind a bush and trying to build this or build that. Kevin MacLeod came here to film my building. I was right out in the open. This is what I'm doing, loud and proud. This is how I'm going to be.
Kevin, pleased to meet you. Eddie and his wife Kim are the owners. So is the whole place built from recycled stuff?
Most of it is, yes.
Yeah.
Completely off-grid. We recycle everything. We pick up windows, doors, all the scrap wood.
You know, I've been living on this like kind of in cloud cuckoo land for like 8 or 9 years, building what I wanted and seemingly getting away with it until the enforcement notice arrived.
Well, we're technically on holiday, but we've decided to try and make this river flow, which is pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
But so far so good. It was dry before, so.
Seems to be loads of work going on.
I suppose it's a bit of like a creative outlet for us. So we like mostly to play music and get away from the busy lives that we lead.
I set about a model of land use that would best fulfill that idea, and making it available to creatives like musicians and artists.
We're a musical group. We set up the classroom into a rehearsal space, and then we just invite all the musicians we know to come and hang out. Sometimes there's like 20 of us, sometimes there might be 6 or 7 of us, but it's a really beautiful place.
That's a nice tune.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think we should jam it quickly.
Oh, I like that. Also making it available to local charities for free community allotments. It really gave me a life. It gave me something that I never thought I would find. It gave me an expression. It gave me the chance to be able to explore ideas, play, build bridges, fire pits, structures. My philosophy has always been on the builds is to start from a zero cost concept. And obviously, it's going to cost something. But if you start with the premise, this is going to cost me nothing, it won't cost you much. A building like this, and that's same for all of my buildings, they're a process. I don't have any blueprints, I don't have any plans. It's like a kid building a den. I'm not a skilled craftsman. I'm a Dennis the Menace builder. 6-inch nails and glue. I'll have a go.
Pencil marks up there. That's coming that way. That's going there. The 45. It's very therapeutic. Well, the thing is, I've got nobody watching me. I've got nobody. My only taskmaster is myself. I'm not inhibited by what people might think. I don't really care, do I? I'm just playing. It comes out of wanting to build dens all the time as a kid, just wanting to run away.
I never thought it was possible that I'd find myself being a man of the land. I'd kind of travelled around and I'd met people who live a very low impact life. I'd come down to visit some friends in mid Wales, and I was driving past this piece of land. There was a for sale auction sign outside, and the auction was that night. So just in curiosity, I went along to the auction in Leicester, and the land came up, and in my mind I thought to myself, yeah, this land's worth maybe £100,000. The auction was about to end at £60,000, so I put a bid in of 62, and I won. When I saw this patch of land, I realised I could buy a life. And to live on it humbly was really what it is I wanted to do. I hadn't realised it until the land showed itself, and then I thought, that's for me.
I'm not supposed to be here, you know, I'm not supposed to be on a piece of land. I'm supposed to be back in Liverpool on the dole and being a smackhead.
I grew up in a concrete jungle. I wasn't born to live like this lifestyle. It'd be fair to say that, you know, as a young man I was pretty lonely and really maybe didn't know how to express love or to receive love. When I bought a piece of land, I just felt an amazing inner pride and an amazing kind of, wow, this is mine. I felt a sense of freedom, and it was something I felt incredibly proud of. I wanted to share it. I'd done a lot of travelling in my life, many parts of the world, and I realised that there's a lot of good people out there. To share that piece of land with good people would be a privilege.
So we sold up everything and moved in the caravan with nowhere to go, which was daunting. But we just found, we heard of Eddie probably 3 weeks before we had to leave. Came here with no future, with no plans from that moment on. And it's just worked out fantastic. You know, we're just literally here for the moment.
This life, you appreciate little things like that a lot
Of course.
more. You
Of course.
appreciate any sunny
Yeah,
day
yeah,
or any
yeah.
bit of sunshine or breaking the wind or...
You've got to work in tune with the seasons, haven't you, really? Because the seasons dictate how your energy levels are going to be.
Yeah.
If there's something I have learned and I do know is that if you work in the harsh climate, it's going to weather you hard. And that phrase about you don't own the land owns you. The land will kick your ass.
We might never see any of this come, or we put, you know, there's a good chance we won't. But it'll be here for the next people, or the next, anyone who follows.
One day out of the blue, a letter arrives 2 weeks before Christmas. It wasn't just any normal letter, it was the nuclear option. The enforcement notice gave me 28 days to appeal to the Welsh Government or face demolition. So this is, it's an enforcement notice. It's the communication that affects your property as described by the council. They say this is a formal notice which is issued by the council because it appears to them that there's been a breach of planning control. They'd never actually even visited the site. I didn't get any prior communication or any prior visit by the council. This just arrived in the post. So they've made an allegation based on no evidence whatsoever. Literally the day of the deadline, I managed to get an appeal into the Welsh Government and I was granted a public inquiry. And then just before the public inquiry, the council backed out. I'm not surprised they backed out. I think they realised that I had them. So I was awarded £4,500 in costs against the council. That must have made them livid. It's absolutely unheard of to be awarded costs against the council. So before they could serve me another enforcement notice, I thought, right, I'll submit a full planning application. They were after every single thing, from a bench in the corner of a field to a fire pit. You can't serve an enforcement notice on a friggin' fire pit that you built on your own land. It's not even a build. It's you dig a small hole out in the ground and you have a fire. They said you needed permission for that. They refused my planning application. The 2 enforcement notices went ahead. I appealed them and I was granted another public inquiry.
I am the appellant, Eddie McIntosh, representing myself in appealing against 2 enforcement notices served on me by Powys County Council, our local planning authority. I swear all the information I present to this inquiry is a true representation of the facts. Firstly, I would like to apologise for my inexperience in procedures of this kind. I'm obviously not a trained barrister. However, I have no choice but to represent myself because the legal fees for this case would have had devastating consequences for my family and the Mellowcroft project. During the 9 years and 6 months that I have lived at Mellowcroft, I've never heard a single complaint by any local resident against anything I was doing. No noise disturbance, no traffic problems, no environmental damage, no negative effect on any species of flora or fauna, protected or endangered. Honestly, I don't know of any offence caused whatsoever, and certainly no negative impact on neighbouring residential amenity has ever been suggested by my neighbours.
The decision came back 6 months after, and I lost my public inquiry. Things just went really shameful from there. My partner and I, we split up. The pressure was mounting on me to demolish everything. I wasn't ready to. I was refusing to. As a strange reaction, instead of demolishing everything, I started to build this. And I thought maybe it might save my marriage, it might save, if I built a house. We were living in a motorhome. It was grim. We just had a new baby. So I built this building, which was probably the hardest build I've ever done. One random day the council turned up, expecting me to have demolished everything, and I was visibly shaken up. I'm standing there in my boxer shorts, scruffy as hell, looking like I've been through the mill. "We're from the council, Mr. McIntosh." I just looked at them and went, "I know where you're from. F off, get off my land." And they replied, "You can't tell us to F off, we can go and get the police." And I was so livid, I was like, "Go and get the police, I'll tell them to F off as well. Get away, go." I got a 3-day Crown Court jury trial, 12 members of the jury, security guards. There's me, I'm putting her behind a bulletproof screen in a box. 15 individual charges. I got found guilty by the jury after 3 days. But the judge, he said, the lowest I can fine you is £100 per offence, but you can't afford that. I'm going to make it £50 per offence or 28 days in prison.
I've been fined for not demolishing the structures on Mellowcroft that now have full planning permission. I'm going to prison. I'm going to prison today.
Okay.
Oh, mate. I realise that I can't continue to be a victim of this crime any longer. It's got to stop. Private number. Hello? Yeah, hey Alex, I'm good, thank you. Wow, you... No, I just got out this morning. Oh, what an experience that was, Alex. What an experience, I can tell you. And, like, food for thought, time for thinking. It was horrible. I've digested so much about this case and the whole kind of permitted development and how the council actually managed to go this far. It's unbelievable. And the Crown Court, how the hands of the judge were tied.
They've already got a planning application to consider. Why serve 2 enforcement notices? Seems a bit strange. Just before I'd gone to Crown Court, I'd started to find evidence that the council had acted as henchmen for a development at the back, a large wind farm. They needed parts of my land to complete the development. They certainly needed access over a track that I had rights over. The whole motive from the beginning was suspicious. The council had met with the wind farm in 2013, and then 3 months later they served me that very first enforcement notice. To meet with the wind farm and then 3 months later serve me an enforcement notice without any other correspondence prior to that is suspicion enough on its own. Just like so freaking angry. How am I going to walk into the police station, walk up to reception and tell them I want to make a complaint against the council? And the sergeant behind the desk is like, yeah, well, what can I help you with? I remember saying to him, look mate, you better take me seriously, as tears are flowing down my eyes. I want to make a complaint, I've been robbed. I eventually got to speak to a detective. He started to look at the evidence, and it became pretty obvious that I'd been the victim of fraud, corporate fraud. He went with the case. I remember getting a message from him once. He said like a coiled viper were ready to strike, and he was ready to go in and start interviewing the council. Then his seniors stepped in and he was told to no further action the case. I've never seen a policeman look so embarrassed. He couldn't quite make eye contact with me. He'd been investigating it for 4 years and he just looks at me and he was like, look Eddie, I've been told to drop the case.
When I came to you, I produced to you that evidence that the council had withheld that information from the planning inspectorate, and you knew, we were questioning as to whether they would have spoken to the planning inspectorate, like secretly, not secretly, but disclose that information. And so you know yourself that they haven't. On the strength of that, right? Surely, I mean, if this was anybody else that was coming to you, you'd recognise that there was fraud going on there.
you know, between me and but like I said, my hands are tied, and I will argue the toss before camera. I'm not going to have him say no, or hierarchy say no. They have really good fucking reason.
Well, they need a bloody good reason, wouldn't they? Because at the end of the day, you know, I've got to be honest with you, Alex. I am genuinely struggling now. I've struggled for the past 18 months over this. And I know you've been there and you've like held my hand through this process. But spending this time and losing what I've lost through this.
I got it into my head that I should make a complaint to the Independent Office of Police Complaints. And blow me, they upheld my complaint. They wrote back to me and said the quality of service is below what I should have expected. And they made various quotes from the police to say the council had lied about this, they'd lied about that. And they told the seniors at the police to reopen the case and to investigate. They refused. You're not supposed to be able to refuse the Office of Independent Police Complaints. I just got really curious again. I went on the internet and I'm starting to look at the wind farm and the company that run the wind farm. I find Stafford Powers Police have invested their pension funds into the onshore wind farm that I'm complaining about. And so have the council. They've both got pension funds invested into this onshore wind farms. What am I up against now? It's so obvious I've been robbed. It's so obvious. It's beyond obvious. You'd be arrested for it. Anybody would be arrested for it, presented with the same evidence. You'd be arrested for fraud.
But I just can't believe how the developers have acted.
The police and the council have both invested their pension funds into this onshore wind farm company. And it's a fraud scheme. The wind farm doesn't work.
They've been up for years and they still don't have consent for the substation to connect it to the grid. So, yeah, up to this point they've generated not a beat.
And what have they been up for 6 years?
Something like that. They occasionally get serviced because we see a van go up every now and again. They do turn very, very slowly, to keep the oil going around the system. But yeah, as you said, they were already past their working life on a Danish wind farm.
Yeah.
And they came and presumably refurbished, but we don't know.
Yeah, of course. You say they turn slowly, isn't it? Like one revolution maybe in
just
48 hours, something. It's not like you'd have to stand staring at them to see them turn.
You have to stand staring at them,
yeah.
But then I saw a notice on one of the shop windows saying, "Say no."
Oh yeah, because they want to put. Nobody wanted these out there.
So they never wanted them.
No, of course not. No. The thing that you'll never get your head around is they don't work. They're not connected. They're second-hand turbines. They were just put up to look like that. Just look the part, nothing else.
Yeah, we asked Eddie the other day. I was like, why have we never seen more? There's nothing in them.
It's a scam. It's the biggest, funniest scam. You couldn't write it. You could not write it. It would be like one of them dark comedy sketches.
We've got the same point.
I spoke to the Chief Constable of Police on the phone. He said to me, well, you've got what you wanted. What's the problem? It's like saying the crime's been committed. Oh, you've been beaten up. Your legs have been broken. You're all good now. You're all repaired. What's the problem? Obviously, the police and the council have got together and gone like, you better just sort him out. You better just give him planning permission because this is going too far. He's got something. He's right. I have won everything. I don't have any planning issues. But I haven't got a clue how I've won planning permission other than the stark fact that I've been a victim of crime and instead of giving me justice, They've just paid me off.
Considering before the enforcement notice, you know, I'd appeared on Channel 4 with Kevin MacLeod. I was nominated 3rd best off-grid retreat in the UK by Kindred Spirits. I was full on with it, yeah, of course. The enforcement notice just made me focus everything on the legal battle. And as I said before, if it was a fair and honest legal battle, then maybe I would have stood a chance. But no, I just hemorrhaged money. It took all of my savings. The structures, everything just fell to pieces, really.
The Town and Country Planning Act has got many positive aspects to it, whether it's monitoring conservation areas or listed buildings or development in the rural countryside, willful, neglectful, open development. The law needs to be there to protect the countryside. Where I think I split ways in that view is the example I can only give of Mellowcroft. Planning law does not recognise what it is I'm talking about. It's a legitimate restoration project. I fought for something I believed in. I felt what I was doing was the right thing. Locals and national newspapers, things like that, people got on board. They could see, they immediately called me a farmer. They didn't call me some hippie living on the countryside trying to evade planning law. I wasn't doing that. I'd like to sit here and tell you that I won because I was right and I bought an abandoned small holding and everything I'd done was right and I won in planning law. I can't do that because I haven't. I've only won because somebody's crapped themselves that I'm causing too much trouble. And they've gone, oh, give it to him to shut him up. I don't like it, I don't like being angry, but I do feel angry, in fact, it'd be fair to say I feel livid. I'm left with a bitterness that I wish would go away.